Hello and a very warm welcome to World This Week by Latest Laws. This is our weekly program, so subscribe and press the bell icon to get notified. My name is Monica Rahar and let's get started by having a look at Supreme Court this week.
Holding that banks cannot wash off their hands towards their customers for the operation of lockers, the Supreme Court has directed the Reserve Bank of India to lay guidelines or regulations within a period of 6 months, mandating the steps to be taken by banks with respect to locker facility management. A division bench of the top court consisting of Honorable Justice Dr. D.Y. Chandrachud and Justice M.R. Shah, it has reiterated that consumer fora, it has no jurisdiction or power to accept written statements beyond the period of 45 days. While shedding full light on the question of whether a consent decree would or would not amount to an estoppel, a two-judge bench of this apex court, it has observed that a consent decree would not serve as an estoppel where the compromise, it was vitiated either by fraud or misrepresentation or by mistake. The top court has issued notice to the Union of India and the Election Commission of India on a petition seeking direction to take steps to ensure access to voting facility to registered voters who are stationed either outside their constituencies or owing to other works like the students or business personals or NIRIs. Another division bench of the apex court comprising of Justice Abdul Nazir and Justice Sanjeev Khanna, it has upheld the validity of e-voting process for winding up of Franklin Templeton's 6 mutual fund schemes. A three-judge bench of the apex court in the case of Naval Kishore Sharma and Union of India and others, it has held that a heart ailment is not covered within the definition of disabilities as provided for under the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act of 2016, and the court would hesitate to import words which the legislatures have chosen not to in their definition of disability. The top court has clarified that suo motu criminal contempt petition was inadvertently listed on its website against journalist Rajdeep Sardesai and the process was on to rectify it. Holding that writer's cramp can be considered as a disability, the Supreme Court comprising of a bench of Justice D.Y. Chandrachud, Justice Indira Banerjee and Justice Sanjeev Khanna, it has ruled that those suffering from it were entitled to take scribe to write competitive examinations including the civil services exams. This particular decision, it has come in the case titled as Vikas Kumar versus Union Public Service Commission. The top court on Monday granted 5-day bail to journalist Siddiqui Kappan to visit his ailing mother. Kappan was arrested on his way to Hathras where a young Dalit woman had died after being allegedly gang raped. The apex court has issued notice to the centre in response to a public interest litigation which has sought priority for getting COVID vaccination for judges, judicial employees and members of the legal fraternity.
Now let's proceed to the next segment of our news analysis and have a look at the Delhi High Court this week.
On Saturday, the Delhi High Court has issued an office order stating that from March 15th, all its judges would hold physical hearing of cases. The court has sought response of the AAP government in response to a public interest litigation which has sought creation of post of additional public prosecutors and the appointment of these additional public prosecutors to the 55 fast-track and POCSO courts in Delhi. Now let's proceed and have a look at the Bombay High Court this week. In a recent decision, the Bombay High Court has held that if the wife is in the habit of chewing tobacco, then that alone cannot be a valid ground for seeking divorce. The High Court has granted bail, anticipatory bail for 3 weeks to Mumbai advocate Nikita Jacob in the alleged farmers' protest toolkit case. In the same case, environmental activist Disha Ravi was arrested last week from Bangalore. The court has also granted temporary anticipatory bail from arrest to Shantanu Muluk, who is a suspect in a case registered by the Delhi police in connection with the toolkit which was shared by environmental activist Greta Thunberg about the ongoing farmers' protest. Now let's proceed to the segment of Allahabad High Court. The Allahabad High Court has held that non-release of the petitioners by the respondent, who is the police authority, even after submission of personal bond and other papers, it is a clear breach of Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. The court, while pronouncing a very significant order, has stated that cancellation of appointment of an employee from service on the basis of homosexuality, it is not valid. The court said that this is contrary to the directions which were passed by the Apex Court in the landmark decision of Navtej Singh Johar. The court has also clarified that homosexuality is a personal matter of a person and it comes under the person's right to privacy, which is guaranteed and enshrined under Article 21 of the Indian Constitution. Now in the next segment, let's have a look at the Rajasthan High Court. A single judge bench of the Rajasthan High Court consisting of Honorable Justice Satish Kumar Sharma in the case of Mohammad Aslam versus Union of India and another has observed that the offence of gold smuggling with the intent to threaten or the likelihood of threatening the economic security of the country, it is covered under the definition of Terrorist Act as provided for under Section 15 of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act of 1967.
Now let's proceed with the miscellaneous segment of our news analysis.
So, acquitting journalist Priya Ramani in a criminal defamation case which was filed against her by former Union Minister M.J. Akbar, a Delhi court on Wednesday has asserted that the right of reputation, it cannot be protected at the cost of the right to life and dignity of a woman. The controversial new order which was passed by Bihar police, which makes posting against the government on social media an offence under the state's cybercrime law and threatens the general public and especially the youngsters from deprivating them from jobs if found engaged in such activities, it has raised extensive alarms. Now a law student has returned to the Patna High Court over this controversial order of the Bihar police. The Rajasthan government, it has amended Rajasthan prison rules, removing provisions which have allowed in the past caste or religious-based allocation of labour in jails to the inmates. Ajay Malhotra, he has become the first Indian to be elected as the chairperson of the Advisory Committee of Human Rights Council, said the Permanent Commission of India at United Nations, Geneva on Monday. The Union government has informed the Supreme Court that it would soon finalize the regulations for OTT content which is streaming through the net.
Now let's proceed with the last segment of our news analysis, which is the international news.
South African court has alleged ex-President Jacob Zuma of contempt of court in a case that is being perceived as an alleged conspiracy involving the top leaders of the judiciary and the military in Bhutan. The police in the country has detained the senior-most judge of its top court, a top army officer and a district judge for allegedly plotting to replace Bhutan's Chief Justice, the army chief and a top law officer. On Friday, the UK Supreme Court has ruled that Uber drivers should be classified as workers and not self-employed person. This decision will entitle these Uber drivers to minimum wage and also to paid holidays. Alright, so that's all we have for this week. More information with respect to any of these news stories, it can be accessed by you using the links which we have provided in the description section for your kind consideration, and thank you for being with us.